Hey guys, 9mm Slinger here. I know quite a few people were asking me questions and really interested in what I had to say about the Springfield Prodigy. Some of you know that I sent mine off pretty quickly after purchasing it. With mine, I did buy the 5-inch as soon as it came out. My local store reached out to me and let me know that they had one in. So it's when I went down, picked it up, and I knew going into this one that there was going to be a lot of MIM parts in the pistol itself. So I did already intend to have those parts replaced. Originally, I was just going to, replace things like the slide release, the safety, and then basically the ignition kit. I don't even know that I was really going to get into the hammer or anything like that at first. I took it to the range, and when I first shot it, within the first 120 rounds, I had a ton of malfunctions. I did a plunk test. In this video, I'll probably include those videos. If not, you can see some of the issues I had on my Instagram, which is 9mm Slinger. I posted about it pretty heavily at first. I believed that this pistol out of the box should at least have functioned. Talking to a couple Smiths that I'm friends with, they let me know that it seemed like the chamber was too tight on this pistol. So you guys are aware I do follow Chambers Custom on Patreon and through Instagram, and Joe Chambers does quite a bit with the 1911, 2011 platform. He also does his reviews on Patreon. So I did reach out to him pretty much right away and let him know that I was to see if he was interested in reviewing the pistol, because he does take very in-depth measurements to see like where these production pistols are as far as like comparison to his own pistols that he custom builds. So he did his review. I did send the pistol off and let him know that I'd like to have some work done once he was done with his measurements and his review. I told him that I would probably like to replace all the MIM parts and have a trigger job and whatever he recommended essentially to get the gun running properly. So when it went to him, it was having issues failing to chamber. I do think there was a couple of failure to ejects, and I wasn't a big fan of the trigger, but I also knew going into it at the price point that the trigger probably wasn't going to be amazing or anything like that. So yeah, just had issues right out the gate. So not here to bash them. They're trying to get into the market at a pretty low cost, and I think for some people it might be a good avenue, but until they get the kind of the quirks or whatever's going on there fixed, I don't know that I would recommend it right out of the gate if this is something you really want to get into, and I don't think it's the best introduction to the 2011 just yet. Like I said, I got into it knowing it was going to be a project and that I'd like to change some things. So Joe did his review on it. From his review, he was very happy with the frame to slide fit. The barrel fit wasn't all that great. He did confirm that the chamber was pretty tight, too tight for it to be reliable. He did his own video on YouTube as well of him shooting the gun when he first got it, and it was failing to chamber pretty regularly. So a couple months went by. Joe, asked me exactly where I wanted to go with it. I let him know what my budget was for this pistol. I didn't want to get like too crazy with it. Spent about $1,000 with Joe. I'm sure that was a deal because I also sent it to him to be reviewed. So what he did essentially, I'll run down the list of things that he did. He finished reamed the chamber, got it to the correct specs, corrected the barrel legs in the link. The trigger, he did a complete trigger job and replaced the trigger that's in this one. You guys can see it right here with the Chambers trigger. That's at 3 pounds 10 ounces with a short roll. He did the Ultra Match sear. He did the Chambers match disconnector, Chambers match hammer with hooks, the Chambers strut. He also, like I said, did the trigger. He did the safeties. because the safeties that came on this factory were terrible. He did the slide release. That was part of him refitting the barrel. Also replaced the full-length guide rod. It's not in it right now, and I'll go over that in a second, why I have two basically. He corrected the ejector, corrected the extractor because both of those were off. I believe the ejector was too long, and the extractor, there's something going on with the claw or the hook. He also cut the underside of the slide with the marble cut. Basically give that disconnector a little bit more, give it a ramp, so there's not like really any hang up at all or any stall with the slide moving forward. He put a 13-pound Springco spring in it. That's something I'll talk about with what I'm running a little bit later in the video. And then he changed out the main spring to a 20-pound. I believe the one that was in it was 25 pounds or something. It was kind of like way off. And then he test fired it, 250 rounds of different ammo, including hollow points and full metal jacket, before he sent it back to me. So like I said, I got the pistol for 13, and then with Joe, I spent another 1,000. So you're, about 2,300 for it to go to a really good gunsmith to get it to run properly and be very reliable, which I wanted. Some people already have commented that it's crazy, should have just bought a different pistol. Like I said, I wanted to get into it and see what could be done with it. So I know some guys are kind of doing stuff at home, doing some of their own upgrades, repairs, what have you. I wanted to go to a good gunsmith that was going to really know exactly what they were doing with the pistol, and get it to be very reliable. That being said, I have shot it quite a bit already since it's come back. I want to say it's over 1,000 rounds now. The first outing, and I'll kind of get into the spring now, I did shoot it. I had a couple issues because of the ammo I was running. I was running some lighter loads, and I talked to Joe about it, and Joe was just like, hey, you need to just swap out your spring. So I did have another Dawson toolless here, and I knew I was going to be swapping springs around quite a bit, possibly between the different ammo that I was using, because I was using some Spear Gold Dot, that's a heavier load, and then just random, plinking ammo, bulk ammo that I have. So I have settled so far on the 10-pound spring. Probably switch back to the single or the main, the one-piece guide rod from Joe, now that I've got it figured out on the spring that I want to use for right now until I get through that ammo. And then eventually, when I have more of the heavier loads or hotter loads, I'll probably jump back into the 13-pound spring. So with that, I'll show you guys a little bit of what's changed on the pistol. I'll break it down here in a second and kind of show you the parts. But first off, got a training mag in it. It's a weighted mag from, who is it? Double Alpha Academy. So any 2011 guys looking for a mag that you can do some dry fire stuff with. It doesn't, no lock back on it. So the trigger on this is one of the best triggers I have in any of my pistols. Joe did an incredible job with it. There is no play. There is no play in this trigger at all. But it's clean. So it's like I said, one of the best triggers I've gotten any of my pistols. I've already reached out to Joe and told him how happy I was with that trigger job that he did. It's great, really great. I know everyone's throwing Atlas triggers and red dirt and all that good stuff, but they're shaving stuff in those frames, and I don't know how well some of them are fitting, but the one that I had still had some play in it. I mean, there's nothing to go here. It is fitted perfectly. So next, I'll go ahead and take it down just so I can show you some of the parts and go from there. All right, guys, now you'll have to excuse me. The gun is pretty dirty. I haven't cleaned it just yet from this range trip. The first trip I had, like I said, when I had just a couple issues figuring out the spring weights, I had put want to say about like 350, 400 rounds through it. And then today, I put another 400 or so rounds, over 100 rounds of the carry ammo I like to use, or defense ammo, mixed with some other hollow points, just making sure the reliability is good. So kind of what I did was, I shot a bunch of my range ammo, varying stuff between reman, factory stuff, hotter stuff, lighter stuff. I mean, probably like 5 or 6 different manufacturers that I have. And then ran through some different hollow points, a few boxes of that, just to make sure everything is running good and that it's eating everything. This pistol ate every single thing that I sent at it today. Didn't give any extra oil or lube, just kept running it super hot, and it took everything that I sent. So let's see here. So what you guys will see first here, you don't see in a lot of them, like in your staccatos and stuff like that, this piece right here is completely flat normally. What Joe did is he did what's called the marble cut, which it cuts a channel right here in a ramp, which gives a ramp for this disconnector right here. And what a lot of these Prodigies are doing is they're stalling on this, especially with the springs that they're putting in them. The factory spring on these Prodigies is 9 pounds. So it's a heavy slide. This is a very heavy slide. So it was absolutely stalling, like to the point where on this pistol, it would stop right there on the disconnector. And you could sit there, you could shake it, and it wouldn't move. And it's in Joe's video and it's in my videos. That absolutely doesn't happen anymore. It is nice and smooth. That ramp is awesome. So one of the other parts he replaced is the slide release. It's one of his parts. It's not a MIM part, and it's fitted to the pistol, and I really like the way this feels on your thumb, either when you're pressing it up to lock the slide or when you're dropping it to release it. The safeties are a lot better on this as well. He did the ambi safeties. They're still a little bit narrow, but they feel good on the thumb. So you're still getting a good feel on it. It's a very aggressive texture that he's got on it. They click nice. I mean, it's a much more quality part. The other safeties that were on it, the factory ones, were very uncomfortable. Didn't like those at all. So he also put his hammer in it. So it's a little bit more lightened than the factory one. It's going to be a little bit more stout because it's not, once again, not a MIM part. And then we have his trigger in here. I really like that trigger. I can't speak enough about it. It's like my favorite thing. So like I said, right now I have the Dawson piece in. I'll probably swap back to the Chambers one since I have the springs figured out. But these are neat. If you guys need one, I believe Dawson sells them for like 70, 80 bucks or something like that. Makes the takedown a little bit easier than using the safety pin if you want to. Trying to think if there's anything else. You know, like I said, he corrected stuff with the barrel and the link. The barrel fits really good. The lockup is nice. The thing just runs flawless now. So I'm gonna run a little bit more ammo through it. Probably gonna run it a little bit dirty for a bit. Just keep oiling it, and probably another 500,000 rounds. 500 to 1,000 rounds to see, you know, its durability, then run some more hollow point, just make sure everything runs good, and this will start being like a defense gun for the house, or, you know, a truck gun. I think it'll serve a great role, and I'll put the staccato up. I do have a CS on the way for a carry piece, so just wanted to give you guys a review on it. Factory, I know some guys are having really good luck with them. I'm not here to bash them, just letting you guys know what I did. Some people are absolutely not going to want to go that route because they're not going to want to spend the money. I'm sure there's other gunsmiths out there that'll do it for less. I don't know if they're as good or whatnot, but I wanted to go with somebody that was very reputable in the in this area, so that's why it went to Joe. And I wasn't concerned about, you know, spending the money with him. Also wanted to just kind of see how the experience was, because I have been looking at purchasing one of his full builds. So very happy with the outcome on the Prodigy. Anybody looking at him, I know everyone's like, oh, how's it compared to the Staccato? It doesn't, in my book. You know, I mean, some people can say that, but the trigger is better in the Staccato. Obviously, the reliability out of the box for me was better with Staccato. I'm at a Staccato price now, swapping the parts and getting this thing properly tuned to basically run with one. You know, it's a good looking gun, but I mean, if you don't have the money, or you don't want to spend the money on the Staccato, you can go this route and hope that it runs good. And if not, I'm sure you could get some work done to it for a little bit less than what I spent, and you might be under it. But you know, like I said, I did this as more of a project. I hope that Springfield gets their issues figured out, because I think honestly, this is a platform, or this is a pistol that a lot of guys maybe from Glocks and other platforms are going to try and buy and get into the 2011 for less money. And unfortunately, it's going to kind of make the other ones look a little bit bad. You know, the whole complaint about reliability and all that. And I know Staccato's done a lot to prove the reliability. And I can say right now that all the Staccatos that I have run amazing out of the box. You just, you know, you buy them, I clean it, and then I run them, and they run great. I've sent maybe one back out of all the ones I purchased to have something done, and it was a finish issue. It wasn't a functionality or performance or reliability issue at all. And that's when I think they were having them anodized by another company. So if you can afford the Staccato, I say buy that 100% if you're going to get into the 2011 game. I mean, there's higher end stuff out there, but if you're just trying to get into it, or you know, you don't want to go crazy with it, I'd say the Staccato. If you want to go the cheaper route, you know, buy the Prodigy, but just beware, you could run into issues and may need to fix some things. But like I said, some people have bought them and they're completely happy with them, and they're not having any issues, so that's good. But once again, MIM parts have come a long way, but I'm just not a fan of it. I'd rather have, you know, quality parts in it. And I thought it would be kind of neat to have a pretty awesome gunsmith work on this pistol and make it super reliable, so I don't ever have to worry about anything on it other than maintenance. So I will probably reach out to Joe again later on, after I've been running this for a while, to see if he wants to take it back in to get some more measurements and see how it's wearing. So yeah, I just wanted to put this one out there for you guys. I know I've had a lot of questions about it, and basically, you know, with that information that I've given you today, you can make your decision on if it's worth it or not for you to buy a Prodigy, or to save some money, save up for a little bit longer and go get the Staccato. But once again, I've really loved all my Staccatos. I like the Prodigy now, but you know, I'm 2,300 deep into it at this point. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, drop them in the link. Check out my Instagram. I post a lot more over there. 9mm Slinger. Have a good day.